This is CUNY TV, the City University of New York.
Hello, I'm Ronnie Eldridge. Welcome to Eldridge and Company. I can't think of anyone who better proves that art and history are intertwined than Faith Ringgold. She's a brilliant artist and storyteller whose passion and exuberant work chronicle the American struggle for racial and gender equality. And she's my guest today. And welcome.
Thank you.
I first saw you many years ago at Ms. Magazine, and you know, in the early days of the second feminist movement, or whatever we call it. Mm-hmm. And I've always wondered two things about you. How did you choose, or didn't you choose, the field of art, mm-hmm. and then your interest in feminism, mm-hmm. two of the hardest things for a woman to come and try to use, you know?
Well, you know, you're right. The art came as a result of the fact that I did it a lot. From the time I was very small, I had asthma. And so I was always, I actually didn't start school until the second grade.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because my doctors didn't want me to be around children with diseases, and all children have them, especially in those days. We're talking about the 30s. So therefore, I was kept out of school. I was homeschooled, okay? Uh-huh. And my mother brought my books at Barnes & Noble, uh-huh. and my art supplies, and I started going to school on a regular basis in the second grade, okay? And it worked out perfectly. I'm still here.
So by this time you were an artist.
Yes, I was constantly doing art, but I didn't think of myself as an artist. I mean, I was just something I liked to do. So I never, when most kids stop making art when they're around 10 or 11, I didn't. I just kept doing it. And even though I didn't study art in high school, I did it at home. So I never stopped making art of some kind or another. And then when I got to the City College, which is where I went, I had to select what I was going to be. But here's the interesting thing. My mother had told me that we used to see the boys pouring up out of the subway on 145th Street, going up the hill and down Convent Avenue to the City College of New York. I said, where are they going? And my mother said, they're going to City College. And I said, oh, that's the school I want to go to, because I had always been told I was going to college when I grew up. And so I said, well, take me down there. I want to see what it looks like. So she took me down there, and we looked at the Gothic buildings, and every now and then she'd take me down there, because it was very small in those days. Okay, in 1948, when I graduated from George Washington High School and went to City College to matriculate there, I was told that I could not go to the City College of New York because women did not receive liberal arts degrees at City College in 1948. Were you aware of that?
No, but it doesn't surprise. I mean, I wasn't aware, but yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
So I was heartbroken because I had my whole life coming up that hill, going up the hill to school. Yeah. I would see the kids going to City College, and I'd say, I'm going there. And now I can't go? No, I can't believe that. So we sat in the office, and they talked to me, and they were trying to explain, you can go here, you can go there, you can go there, but you just can't go to City College because it's a boys' school. I said, but I have no second plan. So then somebody came in and said, well, look, why don't you do this? You can major in art and minor in education and get an art education degree, a degree in art education. How's that?
Did they say you couldn't go because you were a girl, or you couldn't major in art?
You could not get a
Major
liberal arts degree.
I see. You had to be a teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
You could go through the teaching route.
Yeah, I got it.
You could study art.
Yeah, but you had to be a
teacher.
teacher.
You'd had to minor in
Yeah.
education to get
Yeah.
a degree in art education. So I did that, and am I glad I did
that's great.
that. I am so glad I did that, because that way, incidentally, my family was glad too, because I come from a family of teachers. So when they heard that I was going to do the teacher thing, they said, oh, what? They didn't really like the art thing. They thought it was wonderful to do the art.
Yeah,
that was great.
But that's no way to...
But don't be an artist, because artists, that's hard.
Well, they were right, too, weren't they?
Were they not? Yes, they were. But when they heard that it was going to be an art teaching degree, oh, they loved that.
So when you finished, what did you do? You taught?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when did you start painting? And well, you
I
were always
never
painting.
stopped-
You never stopped painting.
I never
But
stopped
when did
painting.
the paintings start being seen by other people and wanting, to buy them?
Okay.
When did you get a...
Okay, the 60s was a very artistic period. Oh, it was a wonderful period for artists. And as I said before, I never stopped painting. Because art is a lifetime thing, so I was always doing it. And I was consumed by the times, and I wanted to paint the period. I wanted to tell my story. I went to Africa in 1976, and I went to Nigeria and Ghana to see the art, African art, because I hadn't learned anything about it at City College. So I went there, and I had such a wonderful experience in Nigeria and Ghana, looking at those gorgeous masks and those textiles and all of that wonderful stuff. I said, I'm going to write my autobiography. Couldn't get it published. No.
But by that time, you were already painting the civil rights movement,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And other paintings.
And that was another reason why it was so important to write my autobiography, because I was trying to be an artist. And I believe that artists should tell their story. Very important. There is a tendency for artists to sit around and wait for somebody else to tell their story. No good. Do it yourself.
So it wasn't until you had the autobiography that a gallery came and said, we want to carry your work and help you?
88, I painted Tor Beach.
Oh, was that late?
1988, because I had already done the autobiography. Couldn't get it published, and I said, I'm going to write I'm going to write my story on my
painting.
art.
That's...
Because my art is being seen. I think I got noticed in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yes, I
think you
did. And that helped me to move ahead.
You were a fighter, along with everything else.
Oh, that was my period.
And did you come from a passionate family?
Yes.
That's always so important, it seems to me. It's unfair
you know,
that everybody doesn't, isn't it?
It is, in a way. As a child, growing up in the 30s, because I was born in 1930,
Yeah.
people visited each other. My mother had lots of wonderful friends. And they would come by and sit and have coffee and tea, and they would talk. And I would listen. I was the baby in the family. I had an older brother and sister. And I would just sit there and listen to everything they had to say. And what were they talking about? They were talking about their struggle. Mostly everybody came from the South. My family particularly came from Florida. And nobody just went and got on a plane and came to New York. That wasn't the way it was done. People would get a job on a train and go all the way out to California and damn near to Canada and around, you know, trying to get to New York. And it was fascinating what they went through trying to move from one place to another. And I would listen to these stories, and I was just consumed by the fact that everybody had a fantastic story of their struggle from where they came from to where they are now. And I just love that, listening to that, and I just feel like it's unfortunate that people don't do that much talking today. Everybody's in a computer.
They're also very self-protective. They're afraid of hurting their image or something, that they've got to be. Don't you think? I don't know. Your mother was a dress designer?
My mother was a fashion designer. Everybody made clothes. That was very popular. And my mother didn't work because women didn't work.
I see.
Period. But she made our clothes. When the war came along in 1940, World War II.
Yeah, 42.
Women went to work because the men went to war. Okay, so now my mother wants to learn how to use a power machine because we got one of those treadle machines. So she goes and gets a job, and she learns how to use the electric machine called the power machine.
Yeah, sewing.
Yeah, sewing, and she becomes a fashion designer. She makes all of her friends' clothes, and oh, she's fabulous, you know. And so she's the one who taught me how to make a quilt.
And she taught you all that. So the quilts came from that.
Yeah, because I love to sew anyway. I really like to sew. Although being an artist and a painter, I had to get other people to do the quilting for me because my mother died in 1981. And so we only did one quilt together. Yeah.
So your stories and the subjects of your painting come from here, from what you've heard, what you're thinking, all the kind of rebellion inside of you, right?
The same place the art comes from.
Yeah.
It comes from me, who I am, and, you know, my story. My story is everything that touches me in my life. It's just like the same thing. If you don't have a story, I think it might be difficult to be an artist, to think of the pictures that go with the words.
But doesn't everybody have to have a story?
Everybody has a story, but everybody may not love their story.
And they don't know if they have it.
And they may not know it as much as I do, because everybody was coming telling the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you have a special favorite series of your work? Or do you have things you especially liked?
Well, I love all my...
No, how can I ask you that question?
How can you ask that? I love all my work, but I think maybe one of my most popular series might be Coming to Jones Road.
Ah.
Yeah. I think there's some of those in my show at ACA.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the latest series and the biggest and the longest. And it's been commissioned by more people. I'm getting ready to do one now for the New York Print Club. New York Print Club, I think. And the Metropolitan has done one.
I love, you know what, I love the paint, well, I love the roof paintings, and I love the paintings that have the bridge in it.
Yeah.
And the bridge is very important in your life.
Woman on a Bridge series.
Yeah. And then you always have the George Washington Bridge, or you did often.
Love it.
But it's so interesting because it's a bridge. And then you have a series which I wasn't able to find the answers to about what a white person would think if they suddenly were black, and if a black person was suddenly white. It's all a bridge also with the race, isn't it?
Racial questions.
Yeah.
Racial questions?
Right, but it seems to me you've always been interested in that bridge between the worlds of color.
Well, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
It is fascinating, and You know, I went to the City College where there was always discussions about race and what was going on in the world. I mean, it was a very highly political place, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting that they didn't do certain things, but they did certain other things, you know, which lend themselves to coming into the 60s. We always had something exciting going on at the campus at City College in the 40s.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, always something.
Exciting times.
Happening.
I think I read once that you said you thought in a way it might have been harder being a woman than being black in the art field. Is that?
I have some flyers, which I told Grace, my assistant, to send, which deals with that same subject. I don't think that's totally true.
I would think it's a hard thing to be true, actually.
It's difficult because there's a problem being a woman, huge problem,
Right.
and there's a huge problem being black.
color.
But there's not a problem being a man. So the man he gets off on that, and she gets off on being white.
Yeah.
But I don't get off on nothing because I'm not a man and I'm not white.
White.
So that's what these flyers that are coming have to say.
What do you think generally of the art world? I can never get over walking into a gallery, seeing beautiful pictures, warm, exuberant pictures, and nobody talks to you.
Yeah.
You know, that's that silent distance, so that's this kind of, it's kind of an elitist kind of thing.
And you're not supposed to talk either, by the way.
Yeah, right.
You're supposed to just
but
be
what is
quiet.
that?
I don't know.
It's
maybe
an attitude, I think.
You know
isn't
what?
it?
I think a lot of times people don't know what to say.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, they don't know what to say.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's true.
Yeah.
Strange place.
I mean, your art definitely is for people to, it draws you in. I mean, it's a story because you are a great storyteller. And it's just, it's going to make you think, right?
Hopefully.
What are you doing now?
I am doing something I think is very interesting. You know Sudoku, the game?
Yes.
Well, I am making something called quilt to duco. In other words, I am making, I got rid of the numbers, and I have colors, 9 colors, with 9 images. 9 colors and 9 images. And I'm trying to make, I've made 50 games, but I can't find anybody to develop them. Why is that so hard?
I don't know.
I mean, I know it's time consuming, yes.
Yeah.
But I am really looking for somebody to.
So you really want to have a game?
Yeah, I've done 50. And I've developed I mean, I have, you know, I know they work and all that. I know all the things you have to do. But I don't know how to develop them. You know what I mean? The way they do it with the code and all that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for.
So you have to find somebody who's a commercial.
Yeah.
So you're a business person also.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Tough.
Yes.
Nobody gets away with anything.
No, because I think it's just such a brilliant idea. I like it.
Right.
And you could work it with your iPad. You could work on it with your iPad, your iPhone. You can. You could also work out the whole thing and have it printed and have a painting on the wall.
So have you done it as a painting?
Yes, I have. I have them at home. Yes.
Do they have an import?
Yes.
How do you decide what you're going to do? I have a friend who is an artist who every morning would get up early, 6 o'clock, 6:30, and sit there for an hour and a half and think, and then would go to work. Do you do something like that?
I have so many things lined up. I never have a problem with that.
It just happens as
At
you're
night,
living.
when I go to bed, I can't wait to get to bed so I can wake up in the morning so I can get started. Because I got to get out there quick. I'm highly competitive. No, I have a lot lined up.
Yeah.
Right now, it's the games and my my museum.
And tell us
because
about the museum.
I have a lot of art, and I think
Are you
that,
doing this online?
yes, an online museum is something that I am trying very hard to get done. And I have been, I learned at City College to keep excellent archives.
Ah,
My
that's a secret.
professors at City College taught me, photograph your work, make sure, but in those days we didn't have, we had cameras, but the cameras were very difficult to use. So the idea was to get a really good photographer to photograph your work, so you have good photographs. And I had one. Malcolm Varon was my photographer, and he was fabulous. And he took all my pictures from the 60s into the 70s until he went to work at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And he told me that he was leaving me. And he said, I want you to get a camera and I'm going to teach you how to photograph your work. And he did. And so I have great photographs of my work because my professors taught me to archive my work, make sure you know when you did it, what's the whole story, keep good files. That's something I learned at City College.
Very good.
Yes, indeed, and I really, I wish those guys were around so that I could
So you
thank
can tell
them.
them.
Yeah.
Do you, when you do a subject, I mean, you're very timely and you're doing all these things, do you relate to the people who are the advocates of that subject? I mean, in the civil rights movement, I mean, did you have anything to do with Martin Luther King or some of the other people who are organizing? When you do your musicians, do you know the musicians?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all give and take. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Oh, yeah, and Martin Luther King and all those people.
So you've had a fabulous life.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because so many fabulous people were around me.
Yeah.
And on Sugar Hill, where I lived, Duke Ellington and all those wonderful musicians, they lived all around me. Oh, my God. However, I did not realize that so many W.E.B. Du Bois, all those people lived right up the street from me. I thought, I wonder if they knew how famous they were. A lot of the artists, too, by the way. I don't know that they knew because we weren't written about that much in books.
Yeah.
So to be all that famous and not be in books or not be in museums, and not have galleries, how could you? You know what I mean?
So you're going to have you're going to have some work exhibited, or you're having an exhibition at the Women's Museum in Washington?
Yeah, it's at ACA Galleries now in New York.
In New York.
And it's going to travel there. It's actually a traveling show. It's been traveling around.
It's the same show that's going to go down there. But then we need things like a women's museum or other places to validate what you're saying is all this important work that might otherwise not be found.
Right, right. That's very
Incredible.
good. Yes, a women's museum is important. And also African American galleries
Definitely.
in museums.
Right.
The Metropolitan, the Modern, the Whitney, the Guggenheim. They should have galleries for the art of African Americans because African Americans cannot be just considered American artists. We have a whole
Special thing.
other history. Each group that came here, that is here, of which we are a large group, brings their history, brings their culture, brings their story, their experience with them. And the African American experience is huge. And it is the experience that artists can live on. It's what we see, it's what we are.
Your work is in a lot of these museums already.
Yes, it is. That's what I'm saying. They have the work of many African American artists, just they don't show it.
Yeah,
Because they don't have anywhere to show it at. If they show it in the American wing, if it's not there, nobody knows. I was not taught anything about African art when I was at City College.
That's what I meant,
Nothing.
really, yeah.
So I was, yes.
So you were a pioneer.
So I was taught to paint like Picasso, like
Yeah,
Matisse,
that's what I
like
meant,
this one
yeah.
and that one.
But
Yes.
not with your own special.
No, I learned, that's why I went to Africa.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I went to Nigeria and Ghana, to see those masks that Picasso created modern art out of.
Right.
I wanted to
They were
see
the original ones.
Yeah, let me see
Yeah.
what these pieces look like.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
it.
I went to Nigeria and to Ghana and saw those beautiful works of art. And I've been and there wasn't that much African art in America at that time.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah, but it's here now.
So we've come to the end of this wonderful
Oh,
program. I'm so sorry we could go on forever. But you do have a website,
Yes.
and it's important for people to look at it, because if you follow through, you'll see a lot of your paintings and enjoy them as much as you. It's just, they're filled with joy.
Well, I'm going to have my museum.
I know.
My online museum.
But you will
But I
announce
don't
it.
have it yet.
And
I
you will announce it on your website.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Faith
Oh,
Ringgold.
thank you.
It's
This
been
has
lovely.
wonderful.
Is there any people you'd like to hear and topics you'd like us to explore? Please let me know. You can write to me at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10016, or you can go to the website at cuny.tv and click on Contact Us. I look forward to hearing from you.